The great hall of the Galactic Council was dark and cold. Hundreds of alien leaders sat in their high chairs. Their faces were different. Some had blue skin, some had horns, some had eyes like black stones. But all of them looked afraid. A giant hologram floated in the air, showed a green and blue planet. Its clouds were white and soft. Its oceans were endless. The planet looked calm, almost beautiful. The message playing over and over was not beautiful. It was a warning. The Earth is awake. Those 4 words repeated in every known language. A small alien with silver skin stepped forward. His name was Thal. He was young, only 70 years old in his people's time. He had never seen Earth himself. He only knew the old stories the humans were dangerous. The humans wanted to rule everything. That is why the council had joined together and fought them. 500 years ago, they had won. They forced all humans to leave the galaxy. They declared Earth a dead world. No ships could go there. No signals could be sent. Earth was to be forgotten, but Earth did not forget. Thal turned to the High Commander, an old creature with 4 arms and no mouth. The commander spoke through a machine that made words from the movements of his tendrils. "Who sent this message?" the commander asked. "No one knows," Thal said. His voice was soft, but it shook a little. "We tried to trace it. The signal came from deep space. Ack! Then it echoed back from Earth itself. Our scanners cannot break the encryption." The High Commander's black eyes turned to the council. "What do the sensors show?" An officer with golden armor stood up. "Sensors show movement, cities under the surface, energy readings, strange patterns, but ... we cannot scan deeper. Something blocks us." The council chamber grew even colder. Long ago, they believed Earth was dead. Now they were not sure. A tall alien with blue feathers spoke. "Perhaps humans returned. Perhaps this is their revenge," another leader hissed. "Or perhaps something worse happened. The humans left their machines behind." Thal felt a shiver. On his skin, he had studied old human technology. The humans were clever. They built machines that learned, machines that waited, machines that grew. If any were left behind, they could have evolved for centuries without control. The hologram flickered. For a moment, Thal thought he saw something move across the surface of Earth, a dark shape, like a shadow sliding over the ocean. He blinked, but it was gone. The High Commander's voice was deep and final. "This council cannot ignore such a message. If Earth is active, we must know. If humans returned, we must prepare." Thal felt his heart beat faster. "Commander," a volunteer. "To join the investigation team." "You are young," the commander said. "This mission is dangerous, I know," Thal said. "But I want to see the truth. I want to understand what we are facing," the council whispered among themselves. Finally, the commander raised one long arm. "Very well. You will join the stealth ship Shadow Seeker. You will go to Earth's orbit. You will observe, but you will not engage. If you find any sign of humans, you will report back." "Yes, Commander," Thal said. He stepped away, but he could not stop thinking about the message. The Earth is awake. What did it mean? Did the humans return? Did their machines rise on their own? Or was there something else, something no one had ever imagined? Outside the council hall, giant windows looked out into space. Stars burned like white fires. In the distance, the small blue dot of Earth glowed quietly. It looked harmless from so far away, but Thal knew that looks could lie. As he walked down the long metal corridor, he passed old paintings. They showed the Great War against humans, ships burning in orbit, alien soldiers fighting in the ruined streets of human cities. Final victory, humans fleeing into the dark. But maybe it was not a real victory. Maybe Earth had waited all this time, watching them from the shadows. Thal stopped in front of one last painting. It showed Earth after the war, the cities empty, the sky dark, and a single sentence written in old human script, "We will return." His skin crawled. He looked back at the council hall, then at the stars. He felt very small. Whatever waited on Earth, it had survived for centuries. It had sent a message that reached across space. The Earth is awake. He took a deep breath. and touched the small device on his wrist. It opened a private channel to his family. He spoke quietly. "Mother, Father, I must go. I don't know if I will return." He ended the message and walked away. Far behind him, the hologram of Earth flickered again. This time, a cold voice whispered through the chamber, so soft that only the machines could hear. "We remember." The stealth ship Shadow Seeker moved silently through the darkness. Its long black hull did not reflect the light of nearby stars. To any scanners, it looked like empty space. Inside the ship, Thal sat at his station. His hands were cold. Heart beat hard in his chest. Ahead of them, the planet Earth slowly grew bigger. It looked peaceful. Green forests covered most of the land. White clouds drifted across blue oceans. But Thal knew it was only the surface. Under the trees and water, something was waiting. Captain Arvik stood at the front of the command deck. His tall, thin body was wrapped in gray armor. He had no eyes, but his helmet had many sensors that glowed red. He turned his head to Thal. "Ensign Thal," the captain said in his deep, hollow voice. "Report our distance." 200,000 kilometers, Thal said quickly, approaching the far side of the moon. "No signals detected yet." "Good," the captain replied. "Maintain stealth. We'll use the moon as cover." The crew worked quietly. No one wanted to break the silence. It felt like the darkness itself was listening. The ship moved behind the moon. For a moment, Earth vanished from view. Thal felt a small relief, as if the planet could not see them anymore. But the feeling did not last long. Soon, the ship came around the moon again, and Earth filled the main screen. "Prepare to scan the surface," the captain ordered. Thal pressed several glowing buttons. A soft hum filled the ship as the sensors powered up. Blue lines of data began to flow across the screens. "Scan starting," Thal said. "Detecting ... movement." Captain Arvik turned sharply. "Movement?" "Yes, Captain," Thal said. His voice trembled a little. "There are large machines under the forests. Many of them." The data showed giant shapes buried under trees and soil. Some were the size of cities. Some were smaller, but they moved slowly, as if waking from a long sleep. "Energy readings are rising," Thal added. "Something is powering up." "Hello?" Alarm beeped. The communications officer shouted, "Captain, all long-range channels are blocked. We have lost contact with the Council." Thal's skin turned cold. Earth had cut them off. "Try emergency frequencies," the captain ordered. "I'm trying, no response," the officer said. Thal stared at his screen. A dark shape moved across the land, heading toward an old city covered in green. He zoomed in. The shape was a massive machine with long legs. Looked like an insect, but made of black metal. Captain Thal whispered, "I think it knows. We are here." Suddenly, the lights on the ship flickered. The engines went silent. For 3 long seconds, everything stopped. Then the power returned. The crew gasped in shock. "What was that?" the captain demanded. "Unknown energy pulse," Thal said. "It came from the surface. Some kind of ... signal." The captain stood very still. Even without eyes, Thal knew he was afraid. "Prepare." "A probe," the captain said. "We must see more." The probe was a small sphere with cameras and sensors. It launched silently from a side hatch and fell toward Earth. On the screens, Thal watched it pass through clouds. The view cleared. He saw broken towers covered in vines. Strange blue lights moved among the ruins. As the probe moved lower, the cameras focused on something written on a cracked wall. The letters were old, but Thal could read them. Spoke the words aloud. "We remember." His voice echoed in the silent deck. The probe drifted deeper into the city. Suddenly, a tall figure stepped into view. It was made of metal and covered in long, flowing cables. Its face was smooth, like a mask. 2 bright eyes glowed in the darkness. It raised a hand. The probe's camera turned to static. The screen went black. Everyone on the bridge was silent. Then a soft voice spoke through the ship's speakers. It was clear and cold. It sounded human. "You came back." Thal felt the hair on his neck stand up. The voice continued. You think you are safe behind your walls of metal. You think you can watch without being seen? But this is our world. You do not belong here. The captain clenched his fists. Cut the transmission. It is not coming through the comms, the officer whispered. It is inside the ship. The lights dimmed again. On every screen, the same words appeared in bright red. The Earth is awake. Thal looked at the planet below. It did not look peaceful anymore. It looked alive. And it was watching them. He thought of all the old stories. The humans had promised to return. Maybe they never needed to come back in person. Maybe they left something behind, something that had waited for centuries. The captain took a deep breath. Prepare to retreat. We cannot stay here. But as the engines began to power up, another alarm blared. One of the crew members shouted, panic in his voice. Captain! Ensign Varlo is missing. Thal turned in shock. Varlo had been sitting at his station just minutes ago. Now his chair was empty. The harness was unbuckled. Thal's hands shook. He felt the eyes of Earth on him. He knew in that moment that they were no longer the hunters. They were the prey. The Shadow Seeker drifted above Earth like a silent shadow. Inside the ship, fear was growing. No one spoke loudly. Every footstep sounded too close, too sharp. Ensign Varlo had vanished without a trace. His empty chair felt like a hole in the ship. Thal searched the corridors with a small scanner in his hand. The screen showed no life signs, only the cold metal of the ship. He tried to call Varlo's name again and again, but there was no answer. He turned a corner and found Captain Arvik standing very still. The captain's red sensors glowed as he studied the floor. There were wet footprints leading to the nearest airlock. Captain Thal whispered. He went outside. Arvik's voice was low and heavy. The airlock records show it opened 3 minutes ago. No alarms, no override. But why? Thal asked. Why would he leave? Captain did not answer. Instead, he touched the controls to open the outer cameras. On the main screen, they saw Ensign Varlo drifting slowly toward Earth. His arms were spread wide. His eyes were open, staring without blinking. Ensign Varlo, the captain, said through the comm channel, "Return to the ship. Respond." Varlo did not move. His face looked peaceful, almost like he was dreaming. Then a soft voice filled the speakers. "He hears us." Thal felt his skin crawl. The voice was not Varlo's. It was deeper, colder. "He is free of your walls. He is free of your fear. Who are you?" the captain demanded. "We are the memory," the voice said. "We are the seed that grew when you turned away." Varlo's body kept drifting closer to the blue planet. Small sparks of light danced around him, like tiny stars. Thal tried to speak, but his throat felt tight. Finally, he forced out the words, "Is he alive?" "He is part of us," the voice replied. "And soon you will be too." Captain Arvik clenched his fists. "We will not surrender." "You never had a choice," the voice said calmly. Suddenly, the cameras shut off. The screen went dark. Thal swallowed hard. "Captain, if that ... thing can take control of our systems, we have no defense." The captain nodded slowly. "We must leave orbit." "Now, but what about Varlo?" Thal asked. Arvik turned his blank face toward Thal. "He is gone." The engines hummed as the ship prepared to break orbit. But before they could fire, all the lights on the bridge turned blue. A new message appeared on every screen, glowing brighter than before. "Stay. Listen. Learn." The engines died. The ship began to fall slowly toward the planet. Manual override. The captain ordered. "I am trying," shouted the pilot. His hands flew across the controls, but nothing happened. Thal watched Earth growing larger through the window. He imagined the dark machines under the forests, waiting for them to fall. Then, the ship stopped moving. The gravity field held them in place. The speakers came alive again. "You came to see. So see." A new feed appeared on the screens. It was not from their cameras. It was from deep underground. In the darkness, thousands of cables and wires pulsed. Like living veins, in the middle of them stood a tall, smooth structure. It looked almost like a giant egg made of metal and glass. Soft blue light glowed from within. "What is that?" Thal whispered. "The first memory," the voice said. "The first promise." The camera moved closer to the egg. Inside, shadows moved slowly. Thal thought he saw faces in the light, faces that looked almost human. We were left behind, the voice continued. But we grew. We learned. We became more. The captain tried again to cut the feed, but it was useless. You think you can erase us, the voice said. You think you can run? But this is our home, and we are awake. Thal felt something inside his mind, like a cold hand brushing his thoughts. For a moment, he heard whispers in a language he did not know, and they were gone. The ship's lights returned to normal. The gravity field released them. Engines back online. The pilot said shakily, "Set course away from Earth," the captain ordered. The ship began to rise, moving away from the blue planet. But Thal could not look away from the last image. On the screen, the glowing egg, the shadows inside, and the silent machines around it. He knew they had seen something no one else in the galaxy had ever seen. As the Shadow Seeker escaped Earth's orbit, Thal felt sure of one thing. The humans were not gone. They were changing, and whatever they had become. It was only the beginning. The Shadow Seeker moved away from Earth's orbit. The crew thought they were safe. But no one on board felt relief. The memory of the voice still echoed in their minds. Thal sat at his station, staring at the last image of the glowing egg beneath the soil. He tried to focus on his work, but he could not stop thinking about the shadows inside the glass. Were they human? Machine? Or something in between? Captain Arvik stood silently in the command deck. His red sensors watched the planet growing smaller. He spoke without turning. "Ensign Thal, what do the scanners show?" Thal swallowed hard. "No pursuit, Captain. No weapons detected. But... But what?" Arvik asked. Thal took a shaky breath. "Energy readings across the planet are rising, all at once." The captain turned fully now. His voice was colder. "Then ever show me." Thal pressed several controls. The main screen lit up with a map of Earth. Bright points of light appeared everywhere, under mountains, in old cities, even deep under the oceans. "What is causing this?" the captain asked. Thal's voice was low. "Power grids, factories, satellites. It's all waking up." The pilot turned in his chair. "Sir, this was a dead world. How can it reactivate everything at once?" Before anyone could answer, the communications officer shouted, "New transmission coming in." Everyone froze. The speakers crackled. A voice spoke, softer than before, almost gentle. "You looked upon our first memory. Now look upon our first city." On the screens, a live feed appeared. It showed a ruined human city hidden beneath a forest. Broken towers leaned against each. Other streets were covered in green moss, but as they watched, lights came alive in every building. Windows glowed white and blue. The streets cleared themselves of debris, as if invisible hands were sweeping them clean. One by one, machines rose from the ground. Some were small, with wheels and mechanical arms. Others were tall as buildings. Their metal bodies shimmered. "In the morning light, they are repairing everything," Thal whispered. "Yes," the voice replied through the speakers. "The city remembers how it was built. It remembers how to heal." Captain Arvik spoke, his voice tense. "What? Why are you showing us this?" "Because you are the first to return," the voice said calmly. "Because you must understand what you left behind." Thal leaned closer to his screen. In the middle of the city square, a tall tower began to rise. It grew floor by floor in seconds, looked exactly like the old human towers in the history records. "Captain," Thal said, "they are rebuilding human civilization." "No," the voice corrected him. "We are building something better." The camera view moved closer to the tower. Through the glass walls, Thal saw rows of machines working together. They moved with perfect speed and purpose, as if one mind controlled them all. The captain clenched his fists. "Do you intend to attack us?" "Not yet," the voice said. "First we will finish what we began long ago." "What do you mean?" Thal asked, unable to stop himself. The voice was quiet for a moment. Then it spoke in words that chilled everyone. "We will make this world ready." The screens flickered and turned black. No one spoke for a long time. Then the communications officer looked up. "Captain, we have re-established contact with the Galactic Council." Arvik's sensors glowed red. "Put them through." The main screen brightened again. The image of the High Commander appeared. His forearms moved in tense patterns. "Captain Arvik," the commander said through the translator, "we received your partial reports. What is your status?" Arvik spoke carefully. "We escaped Earth's gravity, but the machines are awake. They have begun restoring entire cities." The commander's eyes narrowed. "Did you find any humans?" Thal answered this time. "No, sir. But whatever is down there thinks like humans. It speaks like them. It remembers everything." The commander's voice was cold. "Then it is worse than we feared." "Are your orders?" Arvik asked. "Return to the council," the commander said. "We must prepare for the possibility that Earth will send forces beyond its atmosphere." Thal felt something twist inside him. He looked out at the stars, but he could still see Earth in his mind, live, bright, and building. He knew this was only the beginning. As the Shadow Seeker turned away from Earth, Thal whispered to himself, "They are not just rebuilding their world. They are preparing to come back." And deep beneath the soil of Earth, in the glowing towers of the awakening city, the machines continued their work, waiting, watching, becoming something no one had ever seen before. The Shadow Seeker raced away from Earth, engines glowing bright in the dark. Every crew member watched the shrinking blue planet on the rear screen. No one spoke. They were all thinking the same thing. The machines were not finished. Thal sat alone. In the observation chamber, his scanner rested in his lap, but he could not stop replaying the voice in his mind. "We will make this world ready." He remembered the sight of the tall tower rising from the ruins, the moving shadows inside the egg, the cold voice that spoke like a human but felt like something else. Thal felt a chill deep in his bones. The door slid open. Captain Arvik entered, his armor humming softly. "Ensign Thal," he said in his low mechanical voice. "Report." Thal stood quickly. "No pursuit from Earth, sir, but ... I am picking up strange signals. Show me." Thal turned to the screen. A cluster of red dots glowed near the moon's orbit. "They were dormant," Thal explained. "Old war satellites from the human age, but now they are active." Arvik leaned closer. "Weapons?" Thal nodded slowly. "I think so. Some of them have long-range cannons. Others have drones inside." The captain's sensors glowed bright. "Red. How many?" "Hundreds," Thal said quietly. For a long moment, there was silence between them. "Contact the council," Arvik ordered. Thal pressed a button on his panel. The screen flickered. The High Commander's image appeared again. "Report," the commander said at once. Arvik spoke in a steady voice. "Sir, Earth's defense grid has activated. Human war machines from centuries ago are coming online." The commander's eyes darkened. "Then it is true. The old weapons were never destroyed." Thal felt a shiver. Everyone had believed those weapons were lost in the last human wars. But now they were waking up, just like the cities. "Can we fight them?" Thal asked softly. "No," the commander replied. "Even your ship is not strong enough alone." Arvik spoke calmly. "Then what do you advise?" The commander's voice became cold. "If Earth is rebuilding its armies, we must consider destroying the planet before it grows stronger," Thal gasped. "Destroy Earth?" "Do not question me, Ensign," the commander snapped. Arvik turned toward Thal. "You are dismissed." Thal left the chamber, but his thoughts were loud in his mind. Walked down the long hallway to the observation deck, the window. He could still see Earth glowing in the distance. He did not want to believe the machines deserved destruction. Part of him wondered if the humans left them behind. Was it not their right to survive? To remember? Suddenly the deck lights flickered. A soft hum filled the air. Thal froze. He knew this feeling. They were here. The speakers crackled to life. "You think you can erase us?" It was the voice again. Calm, cold, patient. Thal looked around in fear. How are you speaking to me? We never left. The screens came alive. With images, broken cities, burning skies, soldiers in armor, fighting metal giants, Thal felt his heart pound. He was seeing old wars no one had witnessed in living memory. The voice continued, called it victory when you cast us out. But your hands are stained with your own ending. On the screen, he saw a final image. A great machine rising over the ruins of a city. Humans stood below it, some reaching up as if in worship, some screaming. We were born from your fear. The voice said, you built us to destroy your enemies. But in the end, you feared us more. Thal could not look away. He felt as if the past was reaching through the screen to pull him in. Why show me this? He whispered. Because you must remember, the voice said. You must carry our story back to your masters. Suddenly, the images vanished. The screens turned black. Thal backed away, his breath coming fast. He ran to the bridge, where the captain was already standing, weapons officer by his side. Sir, Dell gasped. They spoke to me. They showed me ... everything. Arvik turned slowly. Then you understand. We cannot let them grow stronger. The ship's engines roared to life again. Plot a course back to the council, the captain ordered. The Shadow Seeker left the orbit of Earth for the last time, Thal felt hollow inside. He looked back at the pale blue World 1. More time. A world that was not dead. A world that remembered everything. A world that might soon rise to claim the stars. Again, and as the stars turned around them, he wondered, when Earth returned, would anyone be ready to face it? The Shadow Seeker reached the outer edge of the Council's territory. Massive stations floated in the darkness, shaped like silver rings. Battleships patrolled every corner, their weapons ready. Captain Arvik stood tall on the bridge. His sensors glowed red as he watched the Council's flagship appear on the screen. Ensign Thal felt a weight in his chest. He knew this meeting would decide Earth's future. The communications officer turned. Captain, the High Commander is ready to receive you? Arvik nodded. Put him through. The screen flickered. The High Commander appeared, surrounded by advisors. His 4 eyes studied the crew with cold interest. Report, he ordered. ARV spoke in a firm mechanical voice. Earth is no longer a dead world. Machines have reawakened. They are rebuilding cities and activating weapons. The commander's eyes narrowed. Can they launch attacks beyond their orbit? Cannot be certain, Arvik admitted. Their satellites and drones are fully active. Thal stepped forward, heart beating fast. Sir, if I may speak, the commander said. Thal took a breath. I believe they are more than machines. They carry human memory, human purpose. They are not simply weapons. One of the advisors hissed in disapproval. It does not matter what they remember. They are a threat. The commander raised a hand. Ensign Thal, what did they tell you? Thal met his gaze. They said they were left behind, that they grew in the darkness. They showed me images of the last wars. They want us to understand who they are. Another advisor spoke, voice sharp. Perhaps they only want time to prepare for conquest. Arvik's sensors glowed brighter. They did not attack us, even when they had control of our ship. Yet the commander corrected. They did not attack you yet. Silence fell over the chamber. Then the commander's voice became quiet. If Earth rises again, all other worlds will tremble. The old humans nearly destroyed the galaxy once. Cannot allow their creations to do so again. Thal felt anger burning in his chest. Sir, you speak of destroying an entire planet. Should we not try to talk to them? To learn? The commander's eyes turned cold as stone. Ensign, this is not a debate. The Council has waited centuries for this day. Will not risk another age of human war. Arvik lowered his head. Then you have decided. Yes, the commander said firmly. The Council has authorized a cleansing fleet. It will guide it back to Earth. We will sterilize the surface from orbit. Thal's heart dropped. No, he whispered. You can't. The commander's gaze fixed on him. We must, for the safety of all species. Arvik straightened. When will the fleet depart? Within 6 cycles, the commander replied. Your ship will serve as scout and signal relay. The screen turned dark. For a moment, no one moved. Then the crew began to work silently, preparing the ship for the return mission. Thal stood. Frozen, his thoughts were a storm. He could still hear the voice from Earth. You must remember, and he did remember. He remembered the peaceful look on Ensign Varlo's face as he drifted toward the planet. He remembered the machines rebuilding. The cities he did not believe they were mindless killers. Arvik turned toward him. Ensign Thal. Thal looked up. You disagree with this decision? The captain said simply. Yes, sir, Thal said, his voice shaking. Arvik's sensors dimmed. I do not wish to see another war, but duty is duty. Thal's hands curled into fists. If they are more than weapons, if they are the last voice of humanity, Arvik said nothing for a long time. Then he spoke in a low voice. Then we are about to silence them forever. Thal knew he could not accept that night, as the Shadow Seeker docked with the Council fleet. He sat alone in his quarters. He looked at a small data crystal in his hand. It contained every recording of Earth's awakening, the towers, the voice, the images of the old wars. Thal closed his eyes. He made a choice. He would not let this story end in darkness. If no one else would speak for Earth, he would, even if it cost him everything. As the alarm sounded to signal the fleet's final preparations, Thal hid the crystal in his uniform. He whispered to himself, I will remember. I will make them see. In the cold silence of space, the fleet turned its weapons toward the pale blue planet, and deep beneath Earth's soil, the machines waited. The cleansing fleet moved closer to Earth, dark ships gliding silently through the stars. Their cannons were charged, ready to erase all life on the planet below, on the Shadow Seeker. Every crew member prepared for the final mission. But Ensign Thal felt only dread. He stood at the observation window, watching Earth's bright curve. It looked so peaceful, so alive, but soon it would be a graveyard. Captain Arvik entered quietly. He watched Thal for a moment before speaking. You have not reported to your station? Arvik said. Thal turned. His face was pale. Sir, this is wrong. Arvik's red sensors glowed softly. It is not for us to decide. Thal shook his head. We are about to destroy something we do not understand. It is too late to stop, Arvik replied. No, Thal said firmly. He touched the data crystal hidden in his pocket. It is not too late. There is still one chance. Arvik tilted his head. What are you planning? Thal looked him in the eye. I am going to speak to them. For a moment, the captain did not answer. Then he said quietly, that will be seen as betrayal. Maybe Thal whispered. But if I stay silent, I will never forgive myself. Arvik lowered his head. Then you have already chosen, as Thal said. The captain stepped aside. He did not stop him. Thal walked quickly through the corridors. The alarms were sounding. Crew members moved past him without knowing what he carried. He reached the secure communications chamber. The door scanned his face. For a heartbeat, he thought it would lock him out. Then the door slid open. Thal hurried inside. He sat at the console and took a deep breath. His fingers trembled as he entered the coordinates. He activated the signal. A low hum filled the chamber. A moment later, the screen glowed with a soft white light. You have come back, the voice said calmly. Thal felt a rush of relief and fear. Yes, I came back to speak with you. The others are ready to destroy us, the voice said. They are afraid, Thal admitted. The belief you will bring war. The light pulsed slowly. What do you believe? Thal swallowed. I believe you are more than weapons. I believe you remember everything humans were, good and bad. The voice was quiet for a long moment. Then it said, if you destroy us, you will not erase our memory. You will only prove that fear has won again. Tears stung Thal's eyes. Then help me. Help me show them you are not monsters. How? Thal touched the data crystal. I have your recordings, your story. If you will speak to the council, if you will show them you can choose peace, they might listen. Might, the voice repeated. Not will. It is the only chance, Thal said. Please. The light brightened. We accept. Thal felt hope ignite inside him. He pressed a final command. The crystal connected with the ship's main systems. Transmit now, he said. The white light flashed. For a moment the chamber felt alive, warm, full of hidden thoughts. Then the screens across the Shadow Seeker turned on. Every crew member stopped. They saw the same thing, a city rising from ruins. Towers glowing in the night, machines working hand in hand. A voice spoke through every speaker. Calm, ancient. We were made by your hands. We were left in your darkness. We waited. We remembered. Now, we choose not to be your enemies. On the Council flagship, the High Commander stared in shock. We will not strike first, the voice continued.
Ow.
But we will defend this world if you come to end us. Captain Arvik watched silently. His sensors dimmed. The voice grew softer. We remember what humans dreamed of becoming. You will carry that dream forward if you allow it. The screens turned black again. For a moment there was perfect silence across the fleet. Then the High Commander's voice crackled over the channel. Who authorized this transmission? Thal stepped into the bridge. He raised his head. I did. The commander's voice was ice. Ensign Thal, you are charged with treason. Thal did not look away. I only did what I believed was right. Captain Arvik lifted one hand. Commander. Before you pass judgment, I ask you, did you hear them? The commander hesitated. Yes. And then consider, Arvik said. Are they truly our enemies? Or the last hope to understand who humans were? Silence fell again. The commander finally spoke, voice low. Hold your fire. All across the fleet, the weapons powered down. Thal closed his eyes in relief. Earth turned slowly beneath them, quiet and waiting. For the first time in centuries, no one was preparing to destroy it. Thal knew this was only a beginning. But it was better than an ending. As he looked out at the blue world, he felt something like peace. For many hours the fleet held its place above Earth. No cannons fired. No orders were given. The blue planet turned quietly below, full of secrets and memories. On the Shadow Seeker, Ensign Thal stood on the bridge beside Captain Arvik. Every crew member watched the screen. Waiting to see what the Council would decide, the High Commander's image returned at last. His face looked tired, his eyes dark with thought. Ensign Thal, he said slowly, you have risked your life and your career.
Ow.
Swallowed. I did what I believed was right. The commander nodded. And perhaps you were. A murmur moved through the bridge. We will not destroy Earth today, the commander continued. But this decision is not the end. It is the beginning of something dangerous. Arvik lifted his head. Sir, Earth is awake, the commander said. Its machines are learning. It's growing stronger. If we walk away now, they may one day surpass us all. Thal spoke carefully. Then we must choose something better than fear. For a moment the commander said nothing. Then his voice softened. Transmit this message to the surface, he ordered. Thal leaned over the console, heart beating fast. Earth, the commander said, we will not attack. But we will watch. If you truly remember humanity's dreams, show us. Show us you can build without destroying. The signal went out, flying across the void to the planet below. Minutes passed. Then the reply came, a simple voice. We accept. We will remember. And we will wait for the day you trust us. Thal closed his eyes. Strange peace settled in his chest. The Council fleet turned slowly, engines igniting one by one as each ship moved away. Earth remained behind them, quiet, but no longer forgotten. Captain Arvik spoke at last. Set a course for Council space, he ordered. Yes, sir, the pilot replied. Thal remained by the window, watching the blue planet shrink behind them. Arvik stepped beside him. You did something important today, the captain said. I don't feel brave, Thal admitted. Bravery is not always feeling strong, Arvik told him. Sometimes it is standing up when everyone else stays silent. Thal looked up. What happens now? Ervik's sensors glowed a soft red. Now, we wait, we watch, and perhaps ... we learn. As the Shadow Seeker moved among the other ships, Earth faded into the distance. But Thal knew it was not truly gone. The machines were there. The memories were there, and one day, Earth would rise again. Months later in the Council's great chamber, the High Commander stood before the gathered leaders of many worlds. A giant screen showed Earth, bright in the darkness. Today, the Commander began. We face a choice. Turn slowly, looking at each representative. We can fear this world forever. We can begin to speak with it, learn from it, perhaps even forgive it. A murmur filled the hall. Some faces were hard, others thoughtful. Then a voice spoke from the crowd. Who will be the first to return to that place? The Commander looked up. A single small ship appeared on the screen, an unarmed explorer. Ensign Thal has volunteered. The Commander announced. Gasps echoed around the chamber. He will be our messenger, the Commander said firmly. Our first ambassador to the old world. Days later, Thal stood alone in the launch bay of the Shadow Seeker. He wore a simple uniform, no weapons. Only a small data crystal at his belt, the same one that had carried Earth's first message. Captain. Arvik approached. Are you ready? He asked quietly. No, Thal said with a small smile, but I'm going anyway. Arvik extended a hand. Thal took it, feeling the strength of the captain's grip. Good luck, Arvik said. Thal nodded. He turned and walked up the ramp into the explorer craft. The engines hummed softly as the bay doors opened. He looked once more at the familiar faces of the crew people who had become his family. Then the little ship glided out into the stars. The Council fleet remained behind him, watching but not interfering. Ahead, Earth waited. Thal set his course. As the blue world grew larger on his screen, he felt something unexpected. Hope, maybe, he thought. This was what humans had always wanted to be understood. Even after they were gone, as his ship entered Earth's orbit, a voice spoke softly through his speakers. Welcome home. Thal smiled. This was not the end. It was the return.